You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence is not an event, it is a habit. Aristotle. My friends, make excellence a habit every day for yourself. How do you do that? Well, you tune in here 10 to 15 minutes. You track these charts. You learn by doing. From one thing, know 10,000, as Miyamoto Musashi says. What we teach you with the charts that we track, which are the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, 20-year bonds, gold, and of course Bitcoin. What you learn from what we do, you can apply across the board on any stock or ETF that is chartable. And what's charting all about? It is technical analysis. It is looking at the past to help you divine the future. Now, let's jump first into the S&P 500, see where things are going, and work our way through these charts. We have one more trading day on Friday. What is happening on the weekly chart? We'll start off there as we always do with the S&P 500. It is staying negative. Look at the high for the week, 441.85. Prior week high was 441.80. So during the course of the day on Thursday, we did reach a little bit higher. Again, because of the up, sideways motion, we have not had enough to prevent this divergence in the price percent oscillator when we look at what price has actually done on our Heiken Ashi candlesticks. So there is some inherent weakness built in here in this move that we have seen over the last many weeks. Derivative oscillator is positive, but we just haven't had a trigger for the S&P. And you know what? That's okay. There's plenty of other charts. We're just following this one, making sure that we're applying the rules and not doing anything stupid. Like I said, from one thing, know 10,000. Oh, by the way, Patreon members, we're sending out to you tonight. You'll get your 20 weekly vertical crossovers. I want you to go through those, identify a couple of 3 that you think are good crossovers setting up. Go ahead and do some backtracking, see how those have worked in the past, and then get ready to do a practice trade or 2 tomorrow toward the close of the market on those weekly vertical crossovers. If you're not a Patreon member, want to be able to get 20 really, well, not all of them are great. You get 20 to be able to analyze and potentially practice trade every week. Then you need to be a Patreon member at any of our 3 support levels. Now, let's move through these charts. We see that's what's going on the weekly. It is flat. We go to the 2-day. The 2-day crossed over, going down when that candle closed yesterday, just barely. And what do we have going on today? It is laminated. 141, 141. If you look on the left-hand side of the chart, those who are watching and not just listening, you'll see under the horizontal line, PPO and exponential moving average 8. Those are both the same number, laminated. We did have some up move today, 0.63%. Derivative oscillator still negative. So we had that 2-day recross. Wasn't real excited about it. I know some of you practice traded it. Again, pay attention, see where this goes. This is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. What about the half day? Well, we see things up in the morning, further up in the afternoon. That half day is heading up on the price percent oscillator, has not crossed yet. Derivative oscillator is about gone, probably getting ready to go positive unless it's a down day on Friday. We'll watch and pay attention. That's where we are on the NASDAQ, on the S&P 500, moving to the NASDAQ 100, up the same amount for the day, 0.63%. It's rare they're both up the same amount. They happen to be. We look at the prior week. High was 368.89. Where are we this week? 369.91. So it is reaching a higher high. Price is above that weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator still losing momentum. Price percent oscillator is just a little more than flat. We look at the 2-day, and of course it rotated over, going down back on the 2-day candle ending Monday, the 2nd of August. And then we saw a green spinning top on this last completed 2-day candle. And we look at the current one, and we can see that we are still just barely negative on the price percent oscillator. It is a green up candle that's forming. Derivative oscillator is still negative. So we'll continue to watch and see. This is going to push back through or not and head back up, which means what? That would be a 2-day recross going up. Watch for that as we get toward the market close on Friday. What about the half-day chart? It crossed over in the morning, up a little higher in the afternoon on Thursday. So we'll watch, pay attention. We can go ahead and move our trend line on that half-day chart. It's a pretty decent trend line connecting 5 candles there. So we'll see if that continues on tomorrow. If you have a chance to jump back into an up trade on a 2-day recross. Now remember, that's not as good as a weekly vertical crossover, but if you see it happening and all the charts, reading all the charts all the time, look good for jumping into that, then by all means consider practice trading it. Remember to fill out your trade worksheet if you do. Trade worksheets are in your show notes every day. If you're not a subscriber, go to chartingwealth.com, sign up, and you'll get an email every day. And in there, you'll see the PDFs for the daily market worksheet, weekly market worksheet, and trade worksheet. What's going on with bonds? Down for the day, 0.51%. Price just continues to move up that weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator going into the second week of down movement, but still quite green. 2-day chart. We see that 2-day candle just sitting right there on that 2-day trend line. A red open box candle is forming. It's not finished forming. Won't finish forming until the close of the market on Friday because it's a 2-day candle, and this is Thursday, first day of those 2 days. We see the price percent oscillator positive but heading down. Derivative oscillator negative and gaining a little bit of momentum. So we'll watch and pay attention. Remember where we are on this. We had a 2-day recross in bonds that has been very, very good to us. That 2-day recross crossed over going up back, if you can believe this, on May the 20th. And has not crossed back over since then. It could on Friday. That would be your last chance for pulling out. Of course, our high, our topping high, was 152.71. Right now, closed 150.49. Now, these are Heikin Ashi numbers, so they are calculated a little differently. What we do when we want to make sure we know exactly what those numbers are is we have to get off this Heikin Ashi chart. Because remember, the regular candlesticks are high, open, low, close. Heikin Ashi candlesticks are calculated a little differently. The reason we use them is because in Japanese, I understand Heikin Ashi is supposed to mean average pace, and that is what they do. They help us see average pace better. So it's a bit of a different calculation, but we're in about the right time or about the right number range there. So it has been good to us for the last couple of months now. Now, let's lastly go to the half day. And of course, that half day at the end of the day crossed over going down in the morning. Didn't quite hit the lows of the morning in the afternoon, but we'll go ahead and redraw that trend line, so that when we glance at it, we see on the half-day chart that it is crossed over and heading down. That's where we are on bonds. Been very good to us so far. 0.47% down is what gold is. And it doesn't look like, unless gold has a booming day on Friday, we're going to have a weekly vertical crossover going up in gold. Just doesn't look like it. Derivative oscillator negative, price percent oscillators pulling, edging a little bit away, it looks like, from the red signal line. Almost a doji for this week. So again, still confirmed down on gold on the weekly. What do we see on the half day? It is still positive. Price percent oscillator appears to be getting closer to the red signal line. Red down candle forming, pushed right through that 2-day trend line like it wasn't there today. And we look at the half-day chart. What do we see? Again, way down in the morning, not as much in the afternoon, but, pushing right through that 2-day trend line as things opened up and it started off. So that's where we are on gold. Doesn't look like we're going to get close. We were closer last week to a weekly vertical crossover going up. Not so close this week. Okay, what are we going to show here on Bitcoin? Bitcoin down for the day just a little bit, 0.76%, so not much. Green candle forming for the week. Of course, this represents the week's movement, not the day's. And what do we see going on? Price percent oscillators negative, heading up. Derivative oscillators getting much smaller, continuing to lose momentum. 2-day chart is positive. Derivative oscillators gaining just a little bit of energy. Price percent oscillators continuing to sort of lose that upward angle. And we can see that, of course, over the last, 5 days, where things popped up a little more, and then started slowing Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course Thursday. So that's where we are on the 2-day. We look at the half day, and you can see again where things had popped up, sliding sideways and down as the derivative oscillator on the half-day chart continues to trundle down. So what are we waiting for with Bitcoin? Waiting for that 2-day to gain some more strength, to continue pushing on that weekly until we have a weekly vertical crossover like we had back in late October of this last year. Is Bitcoin going to wait till October again to take off? It could. We'll be standing by, ready and waiting to practice trade this baby when it fires up again. If you want to learn about Bitcoin and how to trade it, well, you need to be practice trading it here and making sure you understand how these charts work. If you don't have our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth, you need it. If you're not a Patreon member, we would appreciate your support. We have lots of great things for our Patreon members. Besides the 20 weekly vertical crossovers each week on the S&P 500, we strive to give you 10 up and 10 down. Some weeks we have to give you more of one than the other. Almost every week we are able to come up with 20. I believe it's only been 1 week that it just wasn't a lot going on that week and we didn't have enough. I want to say we had about 15 or so, but almost every week you get 20. And we also, for our Patreon members, like we did yesterday, you have the live monthly question-answer call-in session where we answer your questions and we help you look at the stocks and ETFs you would like us to help you backtrack so you can practice trade them. In addition to that, we also have our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way, the first thing you get when you subscribe. That's it, my friends. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.